Mae Govannen, my Elven brothers and sisters. Today we've got a short video on a very, very deep subject. I'm going to try to make it pretty simple as I can. It was recommended by a Facebook friend of mine, and she asked for my view on God. What would be the Elven perspective of God? And in our case, we like to pronounce him as Eru. So what would be the Elven perspective of what is God? Big subject to talk about in such a short video, but I wanted to go ahead and cover this for you. Now keep in mind, I know that there are lots of different religions in this world and lots of different viewpoints. There's over 7 billion humans on this earth right now, so I could easily say there are over 7 billion views or perceptions or perspectives of what is God. All right, well, this one is just purely mine, so you can take this as 1/7 billionth of the perspectives on this world of what is God. Now, the person who asked me to do this defines herself as an atheist, but she's open. She's open-minded. And I think one of the reasons that people have such an issue with the belief in a God, whatever you want to say, is because of how they've been raised and what they have witnessed in the world of humans' actions in the name of God. Wars and torment and slavery and abuse. It's all either blamed on God or it's blamed on the devil. And if it's God, well, then they say that God is on their side and God justifies their actions. Obviously, I don't believe that, and I don't believe that within the Elven perspective it's not accepted as well. So, God, what is God? And again, we use the term for a lot of us, not everyone. Again, this is my Elven perspective, but that would be the name Eru, which is a term that Tolkien wrote down from the Quenya for God. And what it means is, and we're going to come back to this in a moment, it means the one, but it also means something that a lot of people are not aware of, that it was not written as much within his writings, and it's rather obscure for those who don't dig deep enough into his writings. It means he who is alone. So Eru, the Elven word for God, means the one, but it also means he who is alone. And that's not a lonely thing, it's not a sad thing. We're going to explain that here in just a few on what that really means and how really quite fascinating it is. All right, for me, real short discussion. Some of you who have looked at my videos probably already know about this, or if you've looked in my book, Elven Awakenings, I talk about it a little bit as well. But my history, I have traveled all around the world, and I have seen many, many human cultures and many human religions. I've studied every major human religion that there is, and I have visited pretty much every one of their temples or cathedrals or churches, however they might be defined, but I have visited pretty much every single type that there is within Christianity, and within the Hebrew, with Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, a pagan, you pretty much name it. Within major religions, I have studied them, and a whole lot of other little ones too that are quite so well known. All right, and I have found that through my studies and through my world traveling, and one of the things I love to do when I travel, and it would be wonderful if more people would do this, is immerse yourself in the culture. It's not enough to go to Paris and see the Eiffel Tower. It's to get into the little villages, learn the language, at least enough to be able to be understood, and so you don't look like, the term is the ugly American. The Americans or other cultures that tend to go to other countries and expect everyone to abide by their rules, to conform to the American way, and they miss the richness and beauty of the culture that they're in. I went to Thailand many years ago, and I studied Thai so that I would be able to better envelop myself into their culture, and it paid off in such beautiful people that I met that I would not have done if I had just done the standard tours and things of that nature and stayed in a hotel. All right, so I've seen a lot of different religions. I've seen a lot of different cultures. And I've come to the conclusion, and some may be offended by this, and I'm sorry, and hopefully if we debate within the discussion part of this thing, we can do it in a mature way. Otherwise, I will delete you. All right, there is no such thing as a true religion. There is no religion on this planet that holds a monopoly to the truth. What I have found, and many of you know this, that every religion out there has some grain of truth, has some piece of it that is true. They just don't all have the whole picture. All right, so that's one thing I've learned, is that they all hold some element of the truth. It's kind of like a big jigsaw puzzle. If we could just put it all together, we might have the big picture. The problem is that the final picture is a whole lot simpler than a jigsaw puzzle. There's only one piece, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment as well. So again, for myself, I've traveled, I've seen things, and I've also been through a lot of adventures as well. I've been in avalanches and storms out at sea. I've been in war zones. I've been shot at. And every single time that I've been through these, and I can say this without a doubt, bullets flying past my head, rocks tumbling past, storm waves washing over my boat out at sea, and not one time did I ever even leave with a scratch. I never was hurt a single time through it. And I believe it's because of how I believe in what I have hope for. If I talked about before, the Elven word Estelle, it means hope, but it also means something deeper than that. It means a trust in what I call God, or the forces of the universe, that it will be okay. It will turn out all right. And in every single case, it did. So that was my belief system, what carried me through some pretty big adventures. All right, so if everyone has some element of the truth, but no one has all the truth, how do we define God? Okay, well, let's take the word we out, and I'm just going to go ahead and say me. How do I define God? All right, this will probably offend a few people, and I'm sorry if it does. And again, let's have an intelligent debate. All right, I believe that there is only one mind, that there is no you, there is no me, there is no 7 billion humans on this planet, or all the other worlds that exist in this universe. I prefer that the closest that I can find that matches what I have experienced in my life with God would be a lot of the concepts from Zen Buddhism. I don't mean Buddhism a religion, I mean Zen Buddhism as a discipline. Not even a philosophy, but a discipline, a way of looking at life. That within Zen, we are taught that there is only one mind. There's not you, there's not me, there's not we. The greatest impediment to people truly experiencing God, to truly understanding what God is and what the universe is really all about, and what is the meaning of life, is our ego. That's all there is that stops us from seeing the truth behind anything. There's an old Zen phrase, I've told you about this before, where there's a phrase pointing to the moon, that if the moon symbolizes truth, most people, and if you're standing by a pond, most people look at the pond and they see the moon's reflection in the pond, and they call that the truth, when really it was behind them all the time shining down. But they saw this reflection and called it the truth. The problem is that truth can be distorted within our own perception really easily with just the slight breeze across the water, or we throw a pebble in it, or a frog hops, or whatever the case may be, or the sun comes out and shades out the moon and blinds it out where we can't see it. So this distortion that we're looking at, we think is the truth, when really it was behind us all the time, and all we had to do was turn around and look, and we would see the truth. And what stops us from doing that is our own ego. As I've talked about again in other videos, there are only two sides to our being as a being, and that is our spirit and our soul. Our spirit is our individual drive, part of our being that wants to progress and advance, and it's a good thing because we learn, we grow as an individual, we grow stronger and more sure of our place in the universe. And then there's our soul, which is the part that yearns for, okay, now take all that knowledge you gained as a spirit and now share it with the rest of the universe, share it with others. So it's called being a soulful spirit by the Silver Elves. And I really enjoy that phrase, a soulful spirit, that it is a spirit that has the desire to share its knowledge and its healing with all others. All right, so that's what we prefer to look at God as, at least as from our sides is concerned. All right, so what is a better way to explain that? All right, we go back to the concept of Zen, meaning the one mind. All right, when you go through studying Zen, because Zen is a way of, a method, a discipline of calming the mind. Most people go through life and they're just so distracted. I find that Facebook ends up being a vast distraction. While it's wonderful to keep in touch with your family and friends, it also can be a great distraction from reality. And most people go through their lives never slowing down, never stopping, never really looking at a rose, never living in the now, because all there is now. There is nothing else. There's no such thing as time. There's no such thing as the past or the present. All there is now. All right, and so Zen teaches us that there is only the one mind. There really is nothing else but God. And so instead of instead of looking up in the heavens, looking up into heaven for God, or looking below for something else, I realized that everything is God. Some would call it a pantheistic way or pantheon way of looking at the worldview of God. But God is everything. I mean, it's this green screen behind me. It's the shirt I'm wearing. It's me. It's you. We are all God. We are all aspects of God. A wonderful book that I love to read, and I put it in one of my favorite books I listed on my Facebook about a week or so ago, is Robert Heinlein's book, A Stranger in a Strange Land. And one of the biggest phrases in there, and actually there was a religion formed around this in real life, so to speak, and it's, thou art God. We all are God. We're all aspects of God. Like this, one of the cells in my hand is still me, is still a part of me. You are God. I am God. We are all aspects of the one mind. And the one thing that stops us from seeing that is our ego, because we don't want to let go of me. It's me. I'm an individual, because they're afraid that if they let go of that, then they would fall into the abyss. They would vanish and disappear, when really we are so much more than we know. I love the Elven phrase, Yelena Quain, all is one. Instead of saying all are one, plural, no, all is one. There is only Eru. There is only God. I'm going to read a little something that came from a teaching from Huang Po. Again, he's a Zen master that I very much have cherished. He passed away at around 850 AD. He was a great Zen master, and he constantly pushed and just talked about the one mind. The one mind. There is only one mind. There is not you. There is not me. There is not my mind and your mind. There is only God. That's all there is. And I love what he said, because this is about trying to perceive God. He said, the pure mind, the source of everything, shines forever and on all with the brilliance of its own perfection. But the people of the world do not awake to it, regarding only that which sees, hears, feels, and knows as mind. Blinded by their own sight, hearing and feeling and knowing, they do not perceive the spiritual brilliance of the source substance, meaning the one mind. If they would but eliminate the conceptual thinking about it in a logical way, it would reveal itself. And that's one of the things that Zen does for us, is it teaches us to focus now with no other thoughts. And it's amazing how much of the now will suddenly appear to us, and how we'll suddenly realize, I'm not me, I'm not you, I'm God. That's all there is God in the universe, and I'm one aspect of it. There is a beautiful comparison in a wonderful book called Zen Flesh, Zen Bones. In there he talks about a comparison of what is the one mind or the one light. Beautiful comparison. It says, imagine this, that there is a box with a whole bunch of holes in the top, and there is a light shining into the box through the holes, And your perception is from within the box. And this one light is shining in the box, but inside you see all these multiple shafts of light. All these unique shafts of light. And let's just say that we gave each one of those shafts of light its own awareness. All right? For each one of those lights, they would perceive that they were unique and individual from all the others. There might be 10 other shafts in there. There might be 10 other lights. And they all perceive themselves to be unique and individual. Ego. Okay, and then one day, one of those lights decided, I'm going to go up and take a look. And the light actually goes until it exits the box and finds out that it is not a single light amongst many. It's just one light that appears as many. All right, so I think a phrase from the Silver Elves is one sky, many stars. Love that phrase. One sky, many stars. And so in this box we had many lights, but it was really just one light. From another's perspective, it appeared to be many. Thou art God, I am God. We are all aspects of God, of the one mind. So I hope that helps. I do believe in Eru, and I believe that I am simply an aspect of Eru. Ego really doesn't mean anything once you let it all go. I hope that helps. A little bit heavy duty here, so I wanted to kind of touch base on what I perceive as God. Eru is just simply the one mind, and that's all there is. It's just the one mind in all of the universe and all of existence. Anyway, I will be putting together my next episode on Elven Parables. I am going to try to have that out in a few days. So for those who have been contacting me and letting me know that you've been enjoying the Elven Parables, these short little stories with meaning, I appreciate you letting me know. I will continue with that series, and I look forward to speaking with all of you soon. Namaste.